But then Oklahoma City bounces back, gets the win in game two. And even though this thing starts to shift now to Indiana, I just feel like this is Oklahoma City series still. You watch what Indiana did, and they were able to get the lucky game one kind of. Yeah, lucky is some people will use that word. I'm going to say it here. There probably is a better word to describe that victory because they definitely earned it in that same right, mounting that late comeback. What was it? Teams in their situation, down 9 with 3 minutes to go or whatever, were like 0 and 185 or some nonsense like that. Indiana was able to, buck the trend and get it going. But then you look at game two, and it was just the Thunder just defensively put the clamps on them, forced them into bad situations. They're getting their hands on them defensively. They're forcing Indiana to be uncomfortable. And everything Indiana doing is then just kind of playing into Oklahoma City's hand. So it feels like right now Oklahoma City is just firmly in control. I mean, they lost game one, but it was a 1-point loss, 111 to 110. And then you turn around and in game two, they win that one, 123 to 107. A very comfortable win for Oklahoma City. And you look at game one, Halliburton was great. Pascal Siakam is doing his thing. Everyone here likes him, right? I think everyone for the longest time before he was traded was like, how could you get him to Portland? I like Pascal. He had 19 and 10 in that game one. And then game two, again, defensively, they find a way to just get going. They force Pascal Siakam to go just 3 of 11 from the floor, 15.7 rebounds. Tyrese Halliburton, who, again, game one, he's not lighting the game up on the scoreboard, right? But he did hit the big shots. He had 14 points in that game one, but they held him to 7 of 13 shooting in game two. He was just 6 of 13 shooting in game one. So defensively, they're getting to him. And so overall, the Thunder are just getting Indiana to play their game. They are playing the game that the Thunder want them to play. And so this one just matches up so well for what Oklahoma City wants to do in the long run. I feel like I said this to Chad as soon as I walked in here, like, does Indiana win another game? Does Indiana win another game? Now, I would like them to. The basketball junkie in me wants to see 7, right? Heck, give us 8 if it's good enough. But it does just kind of feel like the Thunder are kind of starting to get their way and getting the Pacers to play into their hands. So now, again, Halliburton did have that great game winner in game one, but they are absolutely going to need more from him throughout this series if they plan to upset Oklahoma City. Right now, in the regular season, he just averaged 18.6 points, so he wasn't lighting up the scoreboard, right? He wasn't out there dropping 25 on people's heads night in, night out. It was the 41st, most points in the NBA on a per game basis, right? But he is solid. He was solid. But I do think the fact that he's kind of been projected and pushed out there as the face of this team, right? They need more from him. You need more than 17 points in that loss. You need more than 14 points. Even though they were able to win game one, you need more than that from him, right? Now, there was good balance throughout the lineup. Every single starter scoring in double figures in both of those games thus far. And that is how Rick Carlisle has made this team. That's how he's made all his teams, even the team in Dallas, who did have a superstar in Dirk Nowitzki. I don't think Indiana has a true superstar, right? But even in Dallas, the team were just built on balance and finding ways to attack you from all angles. That's what the Pacers are doing now. They have to find a way to just be a little more comfortable in doing that because Oklahoma City is going to have their way. When Lou Dort goes out there, he just is 1 for 3 on the night, 3 points, 2 rebounds, but has a massive impact. Why? Because he's in your grill. He's forcing the Pacers to play into the defense that Oklahoma City is playing. Like, he's doing all the right things. And as I said to Chad, when I got here, Oklahoma City is kind of just the torchbearer right now, if you will, for teams that are completely built on players playing their roles, right? It's not about, I need everyone to go out there and be great defensively, great offensively, great in the pass game, great in the rebound game. No, it's like you have a role and you go do it. Lou Dort, his role is not to go out there and score. It is not to go out there and put up 10 shots a night. It is not to be a massive three-point threat. It is to be a guy that is hard to get by when he is on you defensively, and he goes and plays that role, right? Alex Caruso, same thing, coming off the bench. He's going to get a few more shots than Dort, but his role, defensively make teams work. That's what he does. That's what he does. It's absolutely incredible. As Brendan chimes in my ear, he says he's got a thought on Dort. What do you got for us, Brendan, in Sherwood?
I gotta steal this from Chad Dewing because he asked a couple of his guests today, but it's a great thing, Chris. Like Chad asked Keith Smith, and I thought this was hilarious. What amount of money would I have to pay you to set a screen on Lou Dort? And I was like, okay, now this is a good question. You couldn't pay me, Chris. Like I could just see like. I would have multiple fractures. Like, my bones would just break.
Lou Dort, he's like a he is a linebacker.
Yeah.
Like, if he were in the NFL, he is locking up the middle, and if you are a receiver and your coach calls a crossing route across the middle, you're just like, why? Why? I know what the result's going to be already. Like, I don't need to run into Ray Lewis at full speed. Thank you very much. Yeah. I am a hefty. I am a hefty man. All 5'8" of me. Right.
You've got more size than like I do, Chris. Like,
okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
In a good way.
That's because I don't have the 20-year-old metabolism, and you convinced me to go to Panda Express and Wingstop, and it's all your fault. However, the point is, if I dig my heels into that court and I say I am going to be the immovable object, Lou Dort would laugh at me. He would laugh at me. I would be like, it would be like a Space Jam, right? Where like it's just like you just become a flattened cartoon on the court, and they have to pump me back up full of air just to get me alive and back out. Like, I don't want to set a screen for Lou Dort because he's gonna steamroll you.
And you know that other thing that's been going around social media, Chris. I think it's quieted down a while now, but it's like how many people do you need to take down? I think it was Harambe or a gorilla. Remember when
it was like who would win? 100 men or a gorilla? Well, who would win? Lou Dort or a gorilla? I might put my money on Lou Dort because he's a monster.
Give me like 5 Lou Dorts, man. I'm taking those odds, man.
And I say this because I love Lou Dort's game.
Yeah, me too.
I absolutely love Lou Dort's game because, again, it goes to what I was saying a second ago, Brendan, about what makes Oklahoma City so fun. And quite frankly, it's kind of what makes Pacers fun too. They're both built the same. I think one of them has more talent overall, and that's Oklahoma City. But they're just built on literally, these are your guys. This is the role they play. They don't need to go outside of that. They're going to do this 100% every single night and just be phenomenal at it. And with the Blazers, maybe you start to see a little bit of that, right? Because you're like, okay, Chimani Kamara, he's my defensive guy. Now he gets a couple things on the outside of that. He's starting to become a better offensive player, right? A reliable three-pointer, all that. If he can develop that, great. But if he can just be the defensive guy too, you're okay with it, right? And Oklahoma City has those guys who find their role and play. And Lou Dort has been incredible. Lou Dort he might be akin to like a Draymond Green in the fact that like there was an argument for a long time, even when Draymond Green was in his prime, where people are like, he's the perfect guy in the perfect system. How good is Draymond Green if you take him out of a great team like Oklahoma City and you put him in Washington, right? How good is he on a team that is in the lottery every single year? Does it have megastars? All that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good.
Like, is Draymond Green still good? Yeah, because Draymond Green's basketball IQ is great, right? He's got great basketball IQ, and he's a great defender, but offensively, he ain't much to write home about. Yeah, now, Lou Dort doesn't play the same style game as him. A little bit in the fact that you could say he's defensive-centric, right? Doesn't bring a ton offensively. But if you take Lou Dort and you put him on another random team, so Lou Dort is now playing on the Atlanta Hawks, how do you get the best version of Lou Dort? I think he's in the perfect place at the perfect time.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about his journey, like I remember reading a story a couple days ago, Chris, how, he cried when he ended up being a two-way player, right? He thought he was going to get drafted, right? I mean, I remember him at Arizona State, and I really liked him there. And, Bobby Hurley's team has put out, some dudes, in the last, 10 years or so. And just hearing that, like, how he was like, Sam Presti's the only person who gave me a chance, right? Gave me this two-way. I was just determined to prove it. And, you love those kind of stories, and it fits in with the nature of the Thunder. And I'll say this, Chris, is, he's one of those players like Draymond Green. You probably don't love him if he's not on your team, but man, he is like Superman if he's on your team.
See, I think Lou Dort's a little bit different than that, though, because Lou Dort doesn't ruffle feathers like a Draymond Green. But what's crazy about
kicking?
Yeah, what's crazy about Lou Dort though is the fact that he is listed at 6'4". We all know that listed does not mean real. Like,
right? Yeah.
We gave him that extra advantage. She's actually 6'3" on a good day. He plays a majority of his minutes at small forward.
Wow.
and also plays a fair chunk of them at power forward for Oklahoma City. This year alone, his breakdown 29% at shooting guard, 59% at small forward, 10% of his minutes at power forward, and a quiet 2 at point
That's
guard. But
that's interesting to me because he's got to be no. I mean, I'm sure he weighs more, but height wise, there's no way he's taller than like Alex Caruso, who I think is only like 6'5", and he plays the 3 for him. So
right,
that's
right, but Lou Dort plays big,
Yeah,
and that
for
makes
sure.
a difference, right? I've talked about this a little bit with Scoot Henderson, and that's why I think he can end up being a plus defender. Is the fact that when he gets switched, he doesn't give up a ton because he's not easy to move around. He's not easy to push. He's not easy to bully, right? And Lou Dort is just he's big, man, and he makes himself bigger and he plays bigger than he is. And I quite frankly, I mean, yes, SGA was the MVP. Yes, you look at how things break down and you love the way SGA and Chet and Jalen Williams play together, their core three. But there's a big argument to be made, too, that guys like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso are just as integral to the success of this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Again, they are tied 1-1. So we're not writing the eulogy for the Pacers just yet because they could bounce back. I love this series. And like I told you last week, you missed it, Brendan. But like the big talking heads, right? At the big motherships, they're going to love this series for all the wrong reasons because they're going to say, oh, we told you small markets. This was the lowest rated NBA final since XXX, right? Well, no, duh. It's the two small markets. But for basketball junkies, it's going to give you good basketball. And I think it's already done that through 2 games. It's also done a few other things that ruffle this old man's feathers, okay? It absolutely ticks me off. I'm going to tell you what it is when we come back here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Brendan gets me. He's probably going to tell me that Shacker pre-built the hour, which could have very well happened, but you should absolutely take credit for having Metallica at the ready if it wasn't you. Good job.
All me, boss. Love
Good
you.
job. Thank you. Thank you. That was well done. Speaking of music, so my daughter is 9. She'll be 10 in August, Brendan. So she's getting into that little preteen age, right? Where, she's branching out. Okay. And what I mean is like usually, and by usually I just mean a few months ago, it was like you want to listen to her favorite movie soundtrack, right? Now she's getting into it. So she's getting into Dua Lipa and Sabrina Carpenter. Espresso has been played quite a bit at my house.
Yeah.
And I can get into it because I respect music. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, I am not old man yells at clouds here, right? I am going to be in a minute. But I'm like, I can get into this. Like like Espresso, it's catchy. She's got a good voice. This is not bad music, right? Dua Lipa, same thing. Like not bad music. You know what? This generation's doing some good. And so I said something about Britney Spears, right? And my daughter goes, "Who's Britney Spears?" I'm like, "Well, the Sabrina Carpenter of our generation, right?
Yeah.
More or less." I go, let me show you what Britney was all about. So we're on my computer last night. We jump on YouTube and we start going through some like 90s and 2000s music. I bring on Britney Spears, played some NSYNC for her, and then I look at my wife and I go, "Babe," and she goes, "What?" And I go, "Our generation of music was terrible. It was so bad." I'm like, Britney Spears was a megastar. Like, this song is not good. The dance moves are atrocious. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So shout out to the new age music. I think they're redeeming our generation of bad music.
I think there's a case to be made there. Growing up, Chris, I was, as a it shouldn't surprise anybody. As a young boy, I liked boy bands, right? So it's like I was really big into like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC growing up. Outside of that, which Backstreet still together, NSYNC I think is still pretty relatively known. Like,
thanks, Justin.
I kind of agree with you, Chris. I don't think like I have more of a fond memory of like the early 2010s hits, like the hits that were playing at like my prom and things like that, way more than like the early 2000s hits like you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
But even so, that's fine. But I'm just saying, because like the 99 2000s, like I said, Britney was a megastar, but like I went back and listened. I was listening to like "Oops, I Did It Again,"
Yeah.
which is classic. But at the same time, I'm like, huh, it's like just not. It's just not great musically, right? And then my wife's like, "Yeah, well, I was listening to the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Dad was listening to bands like Limp Bizkit." So then my daughter's like, "What's Limp Bizkit?" And I'm like, "Well, let me find a radio edit that I can play for you." And I played "Rollin'," which, by the way, a young 8th grade Chris sang at the talent show, and my wife is like, "Oh, do we have a video of that somewhere? Someone has to have that." I'm like, "I know. I think it was burned in a burn pile so that no one could ever see it." But I did sing some Limp Bizkit at the talent show.
That's awesome.
But even going back, I was like, okay, I still like Limp Bizkit, but I can go back and go, yeah, they so. It was just so.
Yeah, you're making me feel old, Chris, now that I go back and look it up, like, "Oops, I Did It Again," "Baby One More Time." We're talking 25, 26 years ago. I was 3 and 4, respectively. So, yeah. We're aging. Aging ourselves.
My wife just texted me. She said, 2010s for his prom. Sit down, kid.
Well, Mrs. Burkhardt, I do appreciate it, but yes, it is true. You're talking to a youngin' over here. Chad made the point last couple hours ago. He's like, "I am old enough to be your dad, Brendan. That is shocking." And I'm like, I really don't feel like the youngest guy in the room anymore, Chris. You guys all knew me 3, 4, or 5 years ago when I was like 25. I'm creeping up on 30 now, man.
Yeah, creeping up on 30. I'll be 39 this year, so we're creeping up on the 40. So you're not
for sure.
You're not too old yet.
But I always appreciate Mrs. Burkhardt tuning in, man. She's the best. Whether it's fifth quarter, game day, anything, man, she's best.
She's gonna be like, "What'd you pay him to be nice to me? Like, what are you after?
Absolutely
what
nothing. Chris is just a good coworker, and
okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay, you stop that. That's disgusting.
Oh,
but no, I just like good music, so I'm giving my daughter some props here.
No, for sure.
She's into some decent music. I'm not gonna be the guy who's like, "Oh God, the music today is just terrible." Some of it is, but there's some good stuff out there. You just gotta find it.
And
It's there.
music's so cyclical, right? It's
Oh
just
yes.
like, it's that old saying, like anything that's been done, like the Beatles have done it before. Like it's in some
Oh
way,
yes.
shape, or form, it's kind of like all music, like, we've seen it's just like a big gyre. It just kind of goes in a big like fashion,
But
right?
also, like, sometimes, like, what is super popular always isn't what's super good.
Right?
Like, hair metal bands might be one of the most overrated genres of music of all time. Now, do I like them? Yeah, we all like a good hair metal song, but they were all like one or two hit wonders. There was no classic albums. Like, come on. And no, like, oh, what about Appetite for Destruction? That's heavy metal. That's not hair metal. Just
Right.
because Axel had hair and Slash had hair didn't make him hair metal. Talking about, like, where's the I mean, come on, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Got me all flustered. You know what else has me flustered? Now that we're fully embracing yelling at the clouds here. Shout out Metallica, though. They had hair. They're not hair metal either. Thrash metal, baby, and they're the best. You know what really irks me? And you have no idea what I'm talking about because, they stopped doing this years ago and you were like 5 in 2023. But man, the NBA, for as much as I love this league, it has been my focus professionally for the last decade. I get to sit here and talk about it with you right now. I love it. I love the NBA. But sometimes just the simplest marketing thing they could do, and they just drop the ball. No pun intended. But what am I talking about? Talking about branding for the NBA Finals. Okay? Every single year, it's lather, rinse, repeat on social media of fans going, I miss the Larry O'Brien trophy on the court. Okay? I miss it. And Brendan's like, oh, they used to do that? Do it. Look it up right now, Brendan. Go on your Google machine, type in like 2000 NBA Finals O'Brien trophy court. You'll see what I'm talking about. It used to take up all of center court, sideline to sideline. It was there. It was prominent. NBA Finals plastered on the court. You could tune in. You could have been flipping the channels, which is also a dated reference, mind you. But you could have been flipping through the channels, and you would have seen it, and you would have stopped because it would have caught your eye. It's the same thing. It's why Matt
Behind
what?
Oh, sorry, didn't want to cut. But like the silhouette behind the logo, right? Like
Yes, it wasn't a silhouette. It was the trophy, but it was behind the center court logo.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the physical.
No.
Trophy.
No.
Nope. Okay. So yes,
No,
I
I'm
do
talking
remember
about that.
I do remember this now, though, and is seeing all the like. It looks like it was even done as recently as when Phoenix was in the finals.
It hasn't been done for a minute, and it's
Okay,
stupid.
so that's the last one I see. I see Phoenix with the Valley, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of Lakers, a lot of Mavs, a lot of Cavs.
But the thing is, it's like I said, it's like Matt Groening when asked why he made The Simpsons yellow is because it was bright and it was the opposite color of what you were seeing when you were turning into your monotone shows. So if you're flipping, all of a sudden, all these bright colors would catch your attention, right? And the NBA could do that too, but no, there is no branding. No branding. There is nothing that stands out and says, oh, NBA Finals, Larry O'Brien trophy, final series of the entire season to catch your eye and know that you are watching something special. Okay? When you turn on the Super Bowl, you know you're watching the Super Bowl. You know you're watching the Super Bowl. You got the logo at center field. You have the end zones. You have Super Bowl banners everywhere. You know you're watching the Super Bowl. When you turn on the World Series, you know you're watching the World Series. You have the individual World Series specific logos for that year painted on the grass. You have all the decorations around the stadiums. They're packed. You know you're watching playoff baseball. You know you're watching the World Series. And then the finals comes around, and if you're just watching game one specifically, you wouldn't just been convinced you're watching any other Oklahoma City Thunder game. The only thing that stands out different in the playoff runs at a regular season game was like, oh, all those fans are wearing the same colored shirt. By the way, shout out Oklahoma City and Indiana, who's good at this too, for fan bases who understand, oh, yeah, that free shirt that they put on the chair, we should all wear it so we look cool together. It looks great on TV, right?
Are you pointing at a specific fan base that maybe doesn't put shirts on, Chris?
Yeah, every other fan base.
Oh, gotcha. Heard.
But the thing is there's just nothing else. Now, there was the outcry, just like me right here. Social media was on fire. Oh, the NBA, they can't do this. And what did they do in game two? They did the other thing that I can't stand. They just put digital signage on the court. They couldn't even put a full Larry. They just
Right.
put 2 little Larry O'Brien trophies, where the spot where the arena name usually goes, and then they would go back and forth. It would say NBA Finals, but then it would go back to the 2 little fuzzy Larry O'Brien trophies, which I absolutely hate too. I get that the technology's there. I get that it's cool, but you know what? I want to see the court as what it looks like in person, right? I always find it weird when I see the Moda Center branding or Moda Health branding on a Lakers away game that the Blazers are playing, right?
We talked about that all year, Chris.
It just throws me off. I want to see the court. I want to see everything as I was seeing it if I were there. I want to see the real thing. I don't like the digitally altered version, right?
I think it was like, I forget what it was, one of our local sponsors. Like, I think you and I were like, oh, look, like it was like Daimler Trucks and like, the Wizards or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, awesome advertisement for sure. But like, I totally agree with you on the digitally imposed.
Yes.
Put it behind the logo. It looks a lot cooler.
Yes.
I'm totally with you.
Now, I'm just saying. Now, that's me. It doesn't ruin my viewing experience. I just, that is my old man yells at clouds moment for sure. But the crazy part is then the NBA is like, part of the reason they said they removed those decals was safety reasons. And I don't know what that means. I know for a while, players in like the NCAA tournament say they would slip on the stickers. Well, you don't have to make a sticker. Paint the darn thing. Okay. You're telling me, Brendan, you are telling me that every single team in the NBA can get a specially made in-season tournament court with a giant depiction of the in-season tournament trophy.
Which sometimes are very obnoxious, I might add.
Yes, some of them are bad. But you can't get a custom court with the Larry O'Brien trophy on it.
To me, Chris, this screams. And again, I have no evidence or anything else, and I'm not trying to take shots at the NBA, but this screams, oh, the Thunder, the Pacers, just let them go with it. Like, that's what it screams to me. And I wholeheartedly believe that they should be respected as much as anybody else, Chris. But, like, I saw a stat that said this was, like, the first NBA Finals that had not been in Texas or California in, like, I would say at least 15, if not, like, 20 years. And you're just like, I wonder if, like, the NBA was just broke. Like, not even a couple of years ago when, like, it was, oh, cool, like, the Denver Nuggets were kind of mid-ish team, but Miami Heat. Okay, still the Heat. Like, this is 2 small market teams, and I wonder if the NBA is just, like, mini protesting.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just, they could find a way to do it.
They're being lazy and, like, not jazzed by the matchup. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. It's like, maybe they're not going, all go, no quit. I don't know. It's interesting.
Here's the deal, though. If that is the case, and that's what they're doing, they are doing a terrible disservice and giving everybody all the ammo they need who already sits there and goes, the NBA only cares about big markets. Oh, so you would have branded this and been different if this was a Lakers-Knicks series?
I mean, Chris, I don't believe no conspiracies, but they didn't send Cooper Flagg to New Orleans. They sent him to the second biggest city in Texas. So, I mean, no, I'm totally kidding, but just you set me up there.
I did. But it just blows my mind.
Right.
It is the easiest advertising opportunity. And you're not, and the thing is, you're not advertising your sponsors. You are advertising you. You are putting you front and center. Here. I know when the NBA Finals is on. You know when it's an NBA Finals matchup. Chad knows it's an NBA Finals matchup. Every basketball head knows it's an NBA Finals matchup. But you want ratings? You got to catch the person that doesn't know. You got to catch the person who's like, oh, what's this?
To that point, Chris, obviously I missed Game 2 because it was right in the middle of an Oregon State baseball game. But Game 1, I was watching at my house, and I kid you not, I'm sitting there watching the game, and all of a sudden, I'm watching it, and my mom is like, oh, is this like the end? Like, is this, kind of a real NBA casual, but we'll tune in for like the finals. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's the finals. It's the Pacers. And to your point, she had a hard time telling that was Game 1 of the finals, which I found was kind of interesting to go along with your point.
Yeah. I mean, you're sitting here and, Duke is playing right now in the baseball playoffs, and it says right there behind the dugout, NCAA Division I baseball, super regionals, and all this. You saw it in Corvallis, right? Like, you knew you were watching more than just a regular Oregon State baseball game when you tuned on.
It's true. Yeah, that's it. And speaking of which, Chris, like I said, that final spot looks to be pretty tightly contested here down the stretch.
Yes.
But I digress.
Absolutely, it does. But yes, that's the part that just irks me a little bit. And I feel like when the NBA comes back out, and they just throw the digital version of the Larry O'Brien Trophy on, and just the most half-hearted attempt at getting people to simmer down. It's just like, oh my gosh, all we're asking is for the good old days. The good old days. It's not too much to ask.
Can we
make
go
your
back to a
court look
2-3-2
phenomenal.
finals format too?
Well, maybe.
I mean, I kind of like that back in the day.
It's nicer when you're in the member of the media. Those a 2-2-1-1-1 gets a little exhausting.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
It gets a little exhausting. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Sure. All right. This is Trailblazers Courtside. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. You can follow the other voice you're hearing, my man Brendan, over at B_slot. And of course, you can follow the station over at Rip City Radio 620. We're going to take a quick break because my wife's texting me emojis. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on this bad boy. This is Courtside Monday on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Is this what was playing at Brendan's high school prom?
Yeah. Green Day was big, man.
On prom day. Go Green Day.
Yeah, it's solid, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's try a little new age punk, paying some respects to the greats. Come on now. Punk music. Live forever. Welcome back into Courtside Monday. Chris Burkhardt here with you. You can follow me on social. Chris J. Burkhardt's the name. B_slot for my man Brendan. I did tell Chad the other day that, and he still doesn't believe that my dad's last name is Butcher, but did tell him about our butcher and the slaughter, and he thought that was pretty good.
I mean, it's one day going to take Portland sports radio by storm. It's one of those things that, people have been talking about, Chris. Eventually it'll happen. We just got to keep doing what we do, be patient, and it'll happen, brother.
I don't know if Shacker actually did it. I see on our YouTube that he did use the thumbnail, but I told him that he needed to use Sergeant Slaughter's wrestling theme for you.
He did when I was
hosting the other day. I was like, that needs to be the bump music, Sergeant Slaughter's entry music.
No, he definitely kept me. Like, there was one day he had the Imperial March from Star Wars be my intro to the show, just dun, dun, dun. I'm like, all right, man. So always good to have a producer with a sense of humor, too.
That is pretty funny. All right. Obviously, we're talking NBA Finals and the NBA's inability to market its courts. We'll see what happens. Maybe Game 3, everything changes, but I still think it's funny that the in-season tournaments get courts, but you can't get one for the finals. That just cracks me up. Maybe you just make a generic, even make a generic finals court that just has like NBA Finals is the center logo. There is no team logo, and you just make 2 of them so each city can have one every year. Like, even that would be something, I think, right? I don't know. I don't know. It's weird to me, man. Weird to me.
It's definitely interesting because obviously for the NFL, right, you're not having teams have home, play at home and all those things. Like for instance, like would it have been? Let me ask you this, Chris. Like, because it was, I think they were the last team to do it. So the year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady and hosted at Raymond James,
not the last team to do it.
Should there have been a Buccaneer logo underneath the Super Bowl LL whatever it was silhouette?
No, because that's different. That is intended to be at a neutral site, and it's never branded with the host team's logo. So
I found that interesting throughout our conversation.
Yeah, but if you're playing at a neutral site, even if it ends up being your home site, you're still set up as it's not branded as anything except the Super Bowl branding. Because why? Because you want everyone to know you're watching the Super Bowl.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. It's definitely interesting because, like what you said, like I know, like for instance, like Oregon State, Chris, right? They had super regionals at Goss the last couple weekends. Occasionally they'll host like women's games at Gill Coliseum, and I think one of the more fascinating things that I see is Oregon State, Chris, is a Pepsi school. When you host the NCAA is a Coca-Cola school, and you have to cover up those banners and stuff.
So weird.
Like that I do remember, and I even, I'm sure there was a little bit of that hosting at Goss this weekend. Doubt many Pepsis were sold. But, yeah. So
well, I was in, it's not the exact same, but same. I mean, when I was in the Oregon Marching Band, unlike other marching bands, we had very unique uniforms that were supplied to us by Nike.
Okay.
So we could not wear anything. Like when I was drum major, we had to, everyone in the band wore black gloves. Drum major wears white gloves. They're easier to see, right? So we were responsible for that. The director let us go buy our own. We'd usually just go buy some batting gloves, right? And they were nice, but they had to be Nike. Because if they were anything else, we'd get in trouble. Had to be Nike.
Yeah, makes sense.
Had to be Nike. So, that is funny, though. Oh, NCAA is rolling in town. Nope, we're sponsored by someone else.
Yeah, it was always, that was the funniest thing is like, or they would, like, I remember when they'd be like, okay, well, if you go out to the court, you can't have your Coca-Cola or whatever, like, in a cup. It needs to be poured into a Powerade cup.
Yeah.
Like, because NCAA is a big Powerade. So it's very interesting how sponsorships work when the NCAA, when you have postseason that's hosted at campus sites. So I know we've gone down the rabbit hole, but that's what was on my mind, Chris.
To be like one of those athletes, like what didn't J.R. Smith had like the Supreme tattoo on his calf? Like, be like that. Hey, Coke, I'm gonna be playing in the NBA Finals. how much does it cost to put Coca-Cola
That's
on my bicep?
yes. It's like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander comes back with a Coca-Cola logo.
Yeah, like I will put the Pepsi insignia on my shoulder for the right price.
I mean, money talks, man. You never know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But of course, with the NBA finals going on though, I'll tell you what, there is plenty of stuff coming down the pipe here that's Blazer related before you know it, because the NBA draft, friends, is 2 weeks and some change away. Like it is right around the corner. It is 2 weeks from Wednesday. 2 weeks from Wednesday is your NBA draft, June 25th. And then you turn around and 2 weeks after that, you have the start of NBA Summer League, July 10th, down in Las Vegas. I mean, basically the whole next season's basically almost here. So enjoy the rest of the finals and keep in mind that, you know what? There's Blazer news around the corner. We'll start talking drafts next week, get some guests in here, see what we can do. Because, man, what the Blazers are going to do with that 11th pick, it's going to be very, very interesting. All right, it's time to get out of here. Thanks to Brendan for holding it down as always. Thanks to everyone for listening. To my daughter at home, adios! Adios, radio station. Dad's heading home. But before I leave, there's only one way to end Courtside Monday. This Monday, next Monday, every Monday, and you know what? All the days in between, 365, and even that extra one on a leap year. Rip City, I love you.